Welcome back, guys. In this lesson we're going to learn how to perform emotional freedom technique on someone else so we can eliminate all the limiting beliefs and issues that are plaguing their lives. So to begin with, much like when we do it on ourselves, we formulate a list. They may have brought a list to you, or you can go through it together and discover the root cause of their issues one-on-one. So once we've formulated a list, we've only got 3 little things here just for an example, but I mean you can have pages and pages and pages upon pages for someone else's list. The first thing we want to ask this person to do is for when we hum our song, we want them to think of a song that makes them happy, especially before we start delving into some of the things that might upset them that are on this list. So I'll ask Amy, think of a song that makes you happy, because you'll have to hum it for about 2 seconds.
I think I got it.
Yep, so she's chosen her song. From there, we can start. We rate the issues from 0 to 10, 10 being the most extreme, worst thing, you think about it all the time, it's always a problem. So we start the fear of not being good enough out of 0 to 10, the first number that comes to mind.
2.
I emotionally eat out of 0 to 10, 10 being the worst.
8.
The fear of judgment.
4.
Good, so we've got some stuff that is impacting her and some stuff that's, not so bad. So from there, we can put our list down somewhere where we can see it, so that when we come to it, when we're rubbing the sore spot, we can look at it and go through it nice and quickly. So, this is where we're allowed to touch the person. We come to the sore spot and just ask them to repeat after us.
Do you want eyes closed or open?
Open. It's fine. So for this one, even though I have this fear of not being good enough,
Even though I have this fear of not being good enough,
even though I emotionally eat,
even though I emotionally eat,
and even though I have this fear of judgment,
and even though I have this fear of judgment,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I love 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 myself.
Good. And from there I normally just get them to close their eyes and I just begin tapping. So tapping the way we tap ourselves, 7 to 10 times, firm, because we want to shock that meridian system, but never anything hard enough to do damage. Now, while this is going on, you can be saying reminder phrases like the fear of not being good enough, that emotional eating, letting it all go now. That fear of judgment, letting it all go, letting it all go, letting it all go. That's right. And we can miss that ring finger and onto the little finger. Now you don't want to put too much pressure on someone else's fingers here, guys. So you just want to tap it, because you can do damage to the fingers if you tap crazily. Then onto the karate chop point, and now onto the gamut point. Now from here we want to ask the person to open their eyes and to close them and to open them. Now while keeping your head still, looking down hard to the left and back to the centre. Down hard to the right and back to the centre. Now you want to be able to see their eyes here, guys. So now you want to ask them to make a big circle with their eyes, seeing the ceiling and the floor. You want to be able to watch as they access each and every part of the rim of their eye. So doing it one way and the other. Now some people can do some strange things with their eyes. They'll totally miss a part. So if that happens, you want to get your thumb in front of their eye and just ask them to follow your thumb all the way around. One way and the other. Like that. Good. And so now we're up to the left and right side of the brain. So we get the person to count 1 to 5 quickly
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
and hum that song. And count 1 to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Good, and closing those eyes and relaxing again, letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. That fear of not being good enough. The emotional eating, letting it all go, letting it all go, letting it all go. Okay, I'm going to move through this fairly quickly, guys, just so you get the idea. I'm finishing up on the karate chop point there. From there, let them take a nice deep breath in and exhale. Then just ask them when they're ready to open their eyes. Good. And so there's one round of tapping done. Now we re-rate these issues to see what changes were made already. So we ask them once again, the first number that comes to mind, fear of not being good enough.
0.
0. So that's no longer an issue for her. A little tip there too, a little mind game you can play is, so the next one, which was an 8, I emotionally eat, lowered or gone?
Lowered.
Yeah, what number would you give it now?
4.
And the fear of judgment, lowered or gone?
Gone.
Good. So there we're seeing, by even saying that, we're getting them to think about the number lowering, making it less of an issue. So from here, if we needed to, we'd go back and do another round using our different phrases, such as, even though I still have a lot of these problems that we learned in the last lesson. Now, I'm going to show you how to do it while not touching someone. So this might be someone who, may have suffered some sort of abuse or something like that, doesn't like to be touched, or you're doing it over Skype or some video conferencing thing like that, where they're not there with you. So, very similar again. You get the issues, you rate the issues, you get them to think of that song. They are going to have their eyes open. You get them to follow you. So just pretend there's, a barrier between Amy and I, where she can see me. You get her to follow. So rubbing the sore spot first. And saying, even though I emotionally eat,
Even though I emotionally eat,
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I love 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 myself.
Now, obviously she can't close her eyes and follow you. So she's going to have to keep her eyes open, and you just say, start tapping. Get them, if they don't know what pressure points and stuff they're using, to use a broader hand so they make sure that they get that point. So tapping on top of the head, at the start of the eyebrow, good, at the end of the eyebrow, under the eye, okay, under the nose, in the crease of the chin there, just under the medial part of the collarbone, so right in the middle, so under that knobby bit there, just tap. Good. Now I want you to lift up your arm, and a hand width from your armpit, I want you to tap there. You may, if you wish, I wouldn't recommend it, to get them to tap the end of the liver meridian as well, but that's personal choice. Males are males, it's a lot easier to do, but male and female, I wouldn't suggest it. And then from there, so we've tapped under the arm there, thumb to the sky, and tapping on that part, yep. Good, and then on the index finger, so I would show them my fingers like that. Then on the middle finger, good, skip the ring finger. And then on the karate chop point. Then on the gamut point, so you'd point to that space in between those carpal bones there. Now here you would ask them, while you're doing it as well, to close those eyes, open them, close them, and open them. Looking down hard to the left while keeping your head centered, and back to the center. Down hard to the right while keeping that head centered, and back to the center. Then watch them on whatever device you can to make those big circles with their eyes once again. Good, and back the other way. And even over video you can do this sort of thing with them to get them to follow you if you see they're not accessing all parts of the brain. Then from there, humming their song. Count 1 to 5 quickly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And humming a song. Good, and back to the top. Tapping, tapping, tapping. Start of the eye. Brow. End of the eyebrow. Under the eye. Top lip. Bottom lip. Under the collarbone. Now swap. Under the arm. Good. On top of the thumb. On top of the index. Top of the middle finger. Top of the little finger. And just tapping on that karate chop point. And relax and breathe. And then once again re-rate that issue. So, I emotionally eat, the first number that pops into your head.
2.
And once again we've got it to lower. We've got it to hard again. And so that's pretty much it, guys. Follow that and you can't go wrong. Okay, so join us now in the next lesson where we start to get into some of those problems. So you can formulate your own list and get rid of everything that's holding you back